Hello and welcome to another Tech Home Builder webcast. I'm John Galante, president of AE Ventures, and I'm excited today to have the three co-founders of a new not-for-profit entity called the Healthy Home Alliance. Regina Marston, Maria Meweiss, Mike Moore, they're all here to tell us more about Healthy Home, the alliance itself, and what are the constituent parts of a healthy home and what should builders be doing in this space. So that's what we're going to cover today. So Regina, why don't you kick us off with a little bit of a backgrounder on Healthy Home Alliance?
Thank you, John, and thank you so much for taking the time to do this with us. We really appreciate it. So Healthy Home Alliance is a nonprofit organization that will be focused on being the resource for learning about how to build, sell, design, and market a healthy home. And it came out of the realization that now that we're in COVID territory, hopefully post-COVID soon, that everyone was talking about what they wanted in their home, and it all focused around making sure that it was healthy. And Maria and I and Mike and our other colleague and co-founder, Nick Brown, we found ourselves on a ton of webinars and a lot of great information, but it was very disparate and not connected. So we decided to put it all together and make a one-stop shop for builders, interior designers, architects, contractors, real estate agents, anybody that deals with the new home industry, that you could easily find out the products, the technologies, the construction techniques that are in the marketplace right now and building a healthy home. So that's really how it came about.
Good. And you settled on Healthy Home as the moniker, and there's all sorts of language flying around this category. I hear biophilia, which I personally don't think has a broad market following, but I think of Healthy Home as the East Coast choice, not the West Coast choice. How did you land there?
Well, because we're marketing people, sales and marketing primarily, we were trying to come up with something that would resonate with the audience. And quite frankly, we started hearing from all of the market research leaders last year, the term healthy home. So it just made sense. I mean, to us, you make something complicated, you make it too green or too ethereal, and it loses it. Yeah, exactly. And people, at the end of the day, it's what's in it for me, right? I mean, people want to know what is the benefit to them, and health is paramount to everyone, even more than it ever has been.
I like to say that not everybody wants a smart home and not everybody wants a green home, but only the self-destructive don't want a healthy home. So you can use that, no charge.
Okay.
All right, so let's define what a healthy home is. I mean, what are the pieces and parts of this? What makes a home healthy? Help us understand that. Anyone, jump ball.
Maria?
Well, I mean, yeah, I can start. I mean, as Regina said, we've been doing some workshops and training with a lot of the builders prior to COVID really hitting. And we were talking about the things code-wise that were influencing the way a home actually functions. And in talking through those things, we were, with Mike and Nick's help, we had come up with different steps that were not only outlining the way a home should build, but the benefits to the residents, the homeowners. And so that has to do with your HVAC. It has to do with your, the fit and build them tight and ventilate. So it's the circulation of the air. It has to do with, the antimicrobial surfaces. And once COVID hit, it was like, can I have something that I don't have to touch it and it will still function? So it's all the parts and pieces that yes, you have to have in order to construct a home, and all those parts and pieces doing what they're designed to do, so that collectively you have this holistic healthy home. And it does it does affect how you think, how you breathe, how you
Right.
sleep, how you function overall. So that's really where it came from. And those are the parts and pieces that we had just started breaking down. And as codes, improve, they are meant to also improve the way a home is constructed and functions.
Well, it's interesting that codes were driving it, and I know the other founder who's not here is a fellow that focuses a lot on building envelope and in the structure, which it's behind the walls, so we don't think about. There's a lot of things in this category that are invisible. They're either in the walls and not seen, or they're floating around invisibly. So, but on the structure, there's the ventilation piece and the tight building envelope. Is there more to it than that on the structural components in terms of Vox and other stuff that might come from that category of stuff in the home?
The build tight and ventilate. The build tight part is making sure you have the proper insulation. Here in California with Title 24, we've added insulation under the roof tiles between the between the roof and the actual tiles. We've also increased the kind of insulation to the foam, or even more than that if you want to go beyond into the reach codes. So that helps to build the structure super tight, which it used to be, they thought that we needed to move a lot of air around the building, but now they're saying, no, we need to make a building very tight and then ventilate it properly through the HVAC system and through the bathroom recirculation system. In addition, the windows, Nick will go on and on about the windows. So the windows are a huge component of making sure that you have a healthy home, not only for build tight and ventilate, but also for the quality of, the sound. Because people, working from home, now we all hear everything all day long. And so it's very important for your windows to be, extremely well produced so that you get rid of all that exterior noise.
Do we have measures on well-being related to sound and acoustics? It's a fascinating category to me. I don't know whether we've got the metrics yet, but I know when I'm in one of these homes with the cathedral ceilings and I'm trying to have a conversation and my voice is gone and their voice is gone, somewhere up there's a conversation going on. It's just not in front of me. But it does actually create psychological distress in me to struggle so hard to have a conversation. And I think that's one of the ingredients in all of this, is that next step of understanding what the negative effects are of whether it's noise pollution or what is the physical effect on me or psychological effect on me of stale air versus fresh air. That's kind of one of the missing ingredients I think we have from a sales and marketing perspective.
Well, it's too bad that Nick is not on here because he could speak ad nauseum to that. But we do know that in a Harvard study that was done back in 2014, I believe it was, they studied volunteer students, and they created different air quality environments, and they determined that those people who were in positive air quality with lots of air exchanges happening, they did much better cognitively than those who had stale air. And we also know that the asthma situation, same thing, they did studies on that through Harvard's design and build program, which is fascinating. And the same thing has been shown. So yeah, stale air is just not good for you physically or cognitively. It just
I think
isn't.
the one downside of healthy home is intellectually we connect that to some sort of medical condition or illness. So it's like, let's discuss allergies, but it does get into this gets into the wellness category, right? It's like, I perform better, I feel better, I'm more positive. So some of these things that aren't necessarily healthy in the general sense of the word, as in I'm not sick, get left out around, with that term healthy. So how, we got to make sure we're, I think, adding that stuff in as part of the benefit.
Maria mentioned it. It's in Regina, and you guys are talking around it. It's the air quality for mental and cognitive and sleep. And we now know so much about better sleep. And then there's just the lazy convenience of the fact that the home's cleaner. And so it's less filled with dust and easier to maintain. So there's a bunch here, and we'll get into even more as we go. But yeah, it's about living a better quality life because you're in a truly new home.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the holistic aspect of your healthy home or the Healthy Home Alliance. That's that aspect that we also are looking forward to addressing.
Yeah.
And also, I would like to add, we're going to be, one of our speakers at the Healthy Home 101 event is going to be the principal of Dahlin Architecture. And they just got through developing their guide to healthy communities. And part of that is building design, home building design from an architectural perspective, but it's also, they put a lot of time into that around outdoor living and community amenities and everything that goes into making a very healthy environment holistically. So I think that's very important too. And we want to make sure that, our audience, our builder audience and our developers understand that this is inside and outside. And that's what people are looking for, is both of those things.
Very good.
Be qualify real quick too, John, there. These are industry insiders and have spent lives within the industry, but from a unique perspective as well. For Regina, for Maria, they've been involved on the building side and they're industry experts and veterans, but they're also energy and healthy experts. So it's not an outside group. I think we mentioned it's not about a green. It's not about something that's kind of from the outside. This is from inside. How do we elevate and raise the quality of the product that we're building?
Right.
Agreed.
So some of the big categories, air, right? Were air quality, humidity levels, even air temperature. Those are factors. We talked about the need to get fresh air into the home, especially with the tight envelopes. We didn't talk much about water yet. So what's going on there in terms of
Maria?
water purity?
Yeah, water is another big one, and I'm really excited. One of our sponsors and speakers, Water Techniques, they do whole home water filtration. And what's great is they're going to be talking about how, that gets used in your cooking, that gets used in a whole variety of things throughout your home. And one of the things that they also talk about is leak detection. So there are all different things that just as far as the water is concerned, not only, the quality of it for you, taking it into your body, but the way it actually circulates and works within your home. Yep. So we're excited about talking about that as well. It's another part of the puzzle that has to be considered.
Yeah, I think what's interesting for both air and water is like some of what is driving this is conservation on the energy side of things. Let's have a tight envelope. But then it ends up driving a healthy home factor. Same sort of thing on water. You got, conservation elements around water, especially where you all are. And then, there's a quality piece that goes with it. So you can kind of kill two birds with one stone with some of the technologies and innovations out there. How about light? Are we considering the whole circadian rhythm? There's a heck of a lot of technology out there now to give folks more of a natural daytime cycle of lighting, and that affects productivity and sleep patterns, etc. So is that part of what y'all are covering as well?
Yes, we are going to be covering all of that, the technology aspects, I mean, there's so many interesting products out there right now. Some of them are very upper end, and are right now probably cost prohibitive to most production builders, but there are some great products out there that we want to share on lighting.
Cool. Maria, you were talking about appliances. Are you talking about kitchen appliances? Is there food?
The whole,
Are you a foodie? Are you?
I would like to be a foodie. I aspire to be a foodie. How about that? It helps with the healthy home, this home thing too. So, well, I mean, for us, I think one of the most sensitive things that we've been talking about as far as indoor air quality is appliances and the whole, the gas stove. And I know people hate to talk about electrification, but there's parts of the world that's where parts of the country, even where electric stoves and induction, those things are norm. Out here in California, at least where we are right now, it's a challenge. But it's also, your gas stove is the biggest culprit of having an effect on the indoor air quality. There's a lot of great, I don't know if great's the right word, but there's a lot of statistics out there. RMI, Rocky Mountain Institute, has put out, and one that still just floors me when I think about it is that gas stoves can actually emit and they can elevate the indoor nitrogen dioxide levels that will exceed indoor guidelines just by your stove, and even outdoor standards. And all this is happening in your kitchen from one appliance. So, you think about that, and it's a little mind blowing, but it's something that has to be talked about.
Does California have a strong penetration of gas appliances in the kitchens?
Yes.
I would have thought with all the earthquakes out there, they'd be shutting down the gas lines. But
We're going to be trying
with the earthquakes and the fires and a variety
ding,
of other
ding,
things.
Ding.
Yeah. Thanks for that softball, John.
Yeah. So, that's part of, we were just talking this morning with Southern California Edison, who's also one of our sponsors, our education sponsor. And there's 8 million buildings, just residential, that need to be electrified. Do you think that's going to happen anytime soon? Yeah.
No.
Which is why we need our new construction partners to embrace this with us, so that we can begin the education process. Because we all know that when someone starts to think about remodeling, they go to their home builder model or models and look around at what's new, and it's like the showroom of the home building industry. And so we're hoping that our builders will see the benefit, like Maria said, of offering a healthy kitchen. And it's not just a kitchen. So the hot water heater, we would like people to start looking at hot water heaters that are run by heat pumps.
Right.
There's a lot of different things, and HVAC systems, heat pump systems. It doesn't mean it's going to happen today or maybe tomorrow, but hopefully that is at the essence of a healthy home at the end of the day.
Well, I bet you guys aren't studying this yet, but I do think whole home music with the right sound pressure levels can also be something that drives well-being. And the dog agrees. Somebody's dog.
The dog is agreeing. Yeah.
Well, you're not talking playing Snoop Dogg though, right?
Those dogs, they have good ears. When they hear good
They do.
line about music,
When they hear
go up. All right. So let's talk about what builders should be offering with regard to a healthy home package today. What are your recommendations?
I'll send that over to Mike.
To Mike.
Mike, speak to this, and especially speak to how builders can differentiate versus used houses with a healthy home play, please.
I think the simplest starter point is that when we talk about consumers and we talk about selling new homes, And we're in an environment right now where people are lining up buying homes, but things will change and they will balance out. But the consumer that wants to buy a home, if they're looking for a new home, they expect it to have the latest and greatest features, technology, health, all of that. We expect that. What you find out if you do your research is we build a lot of old homes that haven't been lived in, that are to old codes, that are to old standards, built old ways. It was new for me to even learn that we've never inspected the insulation, that we've never inspected our HVAC systems, that they didn't have to pass. I wondered, and then it dawned on me why the first year I was in my new home, I had to have coolant or Freon put in my HVAC system. Well, it hadn't had to been checked. So what we have to do is try to get to a place where builders really understand that there's a huge market of people who would buy their home, would move out of the home they're in and buy their home if we'll step up and build truly new homes. If it's a new home and you're putting in what you put in 5 years ago, it's not a new home. So when we talk about HVAC systems, when we talk about the building envelope and is it now built tight? Is it wrapped? Is the roof line as well as the attic insulated? Has it been? When we talk about air quality, it's a shocking thing to look at our normal HVAC system filter, and our team member Nick loves to put a flashlight behind the MERV 13 filter, and then the standard, you can see it right through the regular filter, can't even see it through the good filter because it is filtering out and killing so much or capturing so much of the pollutants in the air. My teammates have heard me talk about, I didn't start out green, but you can't start 120 years ago. We haven't made enough change since then. And we had 1.7 billion people on the planet. We're pushing 8 billion people on the planet. Forget what you believe about healthy and energy. You can't take thousands of years to fill the planet with 1.7 billion and then jump to 8 billion in 120 years and expect to keep doing things the same way and be healthy and be fit and be in a good place. For me, the best builder measure is to measure, are you really building the healthiest home possible? So are you building, forget about codes, are you building beyond the codes to build better than you could build? The codes have always forced them. Again, our teammate Nick Brown would tell you, and we joke about, he spends as much time helping builders figure out how to get around the codes to not build to the code. And as an industry, we need to look at this differently and build the best home we can build and fill it with the best products and the healthiest products and technologically advanced products to manage the home.
Yep.
And we get into personalization.
What do you think a baseline play, though, is for a builder today on healthy home? What feature set would you include?
The problem you've got is when you say baseline, they push right back to how do I build it cheaper? The baseline, if they're going to call it new, they should have all these things in it. If they don't have these things in it, if they don't have the latest and greatest, it is not a new home. It's an old home that hasn't been lived in.
So some sort of precision ventilation, right?
Yes.
That's where there's sensing involved, and the right balance of air is constantly provided.
Yes.
The water filtration piece,
Yes.
the humidity control. What about lighting? Regina, it sounded like you thought it might be a little early from a price perspective on some of the lighting.
Yeah, I
But
think
we're
the
close,
light,
right?
we're close, but the lighting has, it's obviously the most technologically advanced part of this system. And I think we'll get there. We'll get there probably within the year. But right now, based on what we've seen, and I've done a fair amount of research on it, it's still a little too pricey for your typical production builder. It's definitely a custom product right now. You can do a little bit, and they show this at the SoCal Edison Energy Innovation Center. You can do some things with tinting that is very interesting. And Mike and I saw it in person, and that's pretty reasonable. And that helps you with filtering your light coming into your house.
Right.
That's probably the most reasonably priced technique right now. But some of the circadian lighting systems are pricey.
And that's baseline that John was asking. I just walked models that didn't have LED lighting in California.
Wow.
Okay, that's scary.
What do they have?
Mhm.
CFLs?
Brand new homes, and it doesn't have LED lighting.
Wow.
And it's a big national builder. So that's why my emphasis here is, let's stop trying to cut corners on something that's new. Yes, prices have gone up, but gee, for the first time, we've seen prices skyrocket. Sure hasn't slowed down sales. What if the price was going up because the home was better? We wouldn't have any problem selling them. There's still more people out here that want a home, but they'd like it to be better than the one they're living in. And we're not building enough with enough differentiation. Forget about just differentiating from a used home. New homes being built today aren't enough different from the new home that could be built. So there's a huge opportunity for builders to get behind this and differentiate themselves and have a product that's worth more. It's imagine if any of the technology that we love just decided they were going to cut corners and they didn't need to make it better. And that's what we've done with homes. And we still call them new because it hasn't been lived in, because it's just built, but we didn't build it to the latest and greatest standards or what we know is possible.
Yep.
And
What do
that's
we-
also where too, because what we know, and Mike, you talk about this in your cell phone all the time. It's like we have to plan for the fact that we know the costs are going to come down, because technology, yes, when it is new, it is expensive. But as it starts to develop and becomes more mainstay, then that's when it will become more affordable. And then that's when the expectation is now, it's now that needs to be in my home. So it may be more expensive right now, as Regina was saying, but in a year, it's not going to be. And
No.
what's your lead time on building a truly new home?
Right.
There you go.
Any ideas on a feature that will be popular in a couple years' time that maybe isn't state of the market right now? Do you think it is that lighting piece or something else?
The two areas that I think will really be popular is lighting, and I think your touchless appliances. So LG has one of the first touchless refrigerators out, but there's talk of touchless dishwashers, meaning opening the door, obviously not the internal. There's talk of touchless stoves. So I think touchless appliances is
Yeah.
probably in the next 1 to 2 year future. And then I think that people touchless, and you know more about the technology, John, than I do, but it seems like the touchless door knobs, the touchless toilets, all of those kind of things are also getting very popular as well. So I think all of the touchless things will become even more popular in the next 2 to 3 years.
So
I think
human beings are going to be cut down to 4 senses is basically
Yeah.
another result of the pandemic.
I think
Well,
that
you know,
the consumer's going to decide this indoor air quality thing is a big deal. And I think
already it is
as we
already.
get post-COVID, we're going to keep hearing, it's all out there, but we're going to keep hearing more and more about air quality. And that's going to be, for the next 5 years, a consideration. What is in my house? People haven't asked that up till now. They just expected they were buying a new home and got the latest and greatest again, even when they weren't. But I think you're going to see consumers be more cognizant, more aware. They're going to ask more about the features in a new home and air quality. Regina and Maria can
Well,
speak
air
to that.
quality is right up there now with
With
location.
location.
Yes.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah,
And I think
cognition,
they're gonna learn how
cognition.
to ask about it.
Yeah.
gonna
Oh, no, they
Right.
are. They're demanding it.
Yeah.
So the last survey done by Cognition Data, which is owned by Green Builder Magazine and Green Media,
Mhm.
they're not only asking about it, they're demanding it.
Yeah.
And they're willing to spend, it was in December, up to 30,000 more for energy efficiency and high quality indoor air. Now they're willing to spend up to $45,000 more.
Right.
And that's just, I'm not making that up. That's just the data. And so what it tells us is that health is at the top of their list on what they're looking for. And to your point, Mike, if the builders keep thinking they can ignore this, it's at their own peril, because the buyer is saying this is what they want. And you know, I was on a webinar with Sarah a few months ago, and they made the point that the millennial was not interested in buying a home until COVID hit. So they've come out of the woodwork and they've really become a force in the market. And the easiest way to tune them out is not to listen to what they want.
Yeah. And who do you think the subcontractor is that's going to pull this all together for the
It needs to
builder?
be the HVAC contractor, quite frankly. And that's, you know,
Are they up to it?
the manufacturers
Mhm.
are. I mean, Carrier, we have Carrier on Healthy Home Alliance with their Healthy Home Buildings program. Train is doing some interesting work, as is York. They're doing some great work. So is Jim Air and Ream.
Yeah.
But the manufacturer is already moved there. It's the contractor who has to get on board
Mhm.
to
Right.
help install it the proper way. And of course, if the contractor isn't being asked by the builder to spec the what the buyer is looking for, then you know we're all in trouble. But the manufacturer has already done great work, so the products are there.
Well, we could go on and on, but I think we need to get a little bit more information on your virtual event that's coming up, so folks can allocate more time to go deeper on this topic. What's up? When is it happening? How do people get more information?
I'll let Maria take that.
Oh gosh. So June 24th, yay. And it's a half day. So it's 1 to 5. So do I have that right? Yeah.
Mhm.
And
1 to 5, which zone?
Pacific
Oh,
time.
Pacific, yes.
Okay.
And thank you for asking that. And we do have our website up, and it gives you all the information, who the speakers are going to be, lots of really great information. The website is a reflection of what it is that Healthy Home Alliance hopes to teach and be this great resource for everyone, for builders, for subcontractors, and ultimately for the general public. And the website is the letter UR, healthyhome.org. And we've got some great keynote speakers. We've got some great panels that we're going to be doing, and we'll be talking about a variety of the different topics that we were mentioning today.
Yeah.
You know, clean air, water filtration, antimicrobial surfaces, you know, all of the parts and pieces that really need to come together to build what that healthy home is.
Great. Well, I know there's a lot of need for education and information out there. Thank you guys for stepping up to that. Congratulations on the launch of the Alliance and the virtual event. And thank you, Regina, Maria, and Mike, for your time today. We'll see you next time on Tech Home Builder webcast. Take care.
Thank you.